Hey everybody, welcome back to Karandrin role-playing game. I am Kevin Manus Pennings, your game master, also known as Crack Palantir. I'll be hosting my good buddy Max on this Brise's Tale episode 10. We made it to 10. Can you believe it? Uh,
Not binary 10, not 2. This is
exactly. Actual
episode 10.
That's right. Actual 10 episodes. And Brise, as always, she's a female adventurer, talented in both, a little magic and a little. And that's played by my good buddy Max. Say hello to the nice folks, Max.
Hello, everybody.
All zero of you, but
Yeah, also.
it's
Well,
fine.
yeah. Hello, and glad for sticking around this long. Has been a few months now, so yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it up, no matter how dismal our numbers, because we have a good time, and it's
It's
fun.
not quantity, it's quality.
It
We
is quality.
got that.
I really hope we do. I really hope we do.
Although I would like some quantity.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna start streaming 6 times a week.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so
Need those viewers.
that's right. Yeah, so it's been fun. It's been quite an adventure, and certainly you've made some progress. And for any new viewers, this is the main part of Brise's goal is to try to get out from under the clutches of a sorceress and queen from back in the day, from several millennia back, named Verilag. And so he is in the process of making alliances and researching magic and exploring places that might have items or resources that she can use to get out from under her clutches as she attempts to regain her power, which was taken from her many years ago. But again, everybody, welcome to episode 10. This is it's exciting we've made it this far, and here's to many, many, many more.
Mm-hmm.
So do we want to do a recap? Do we want to jump into play?
We'll do a quick recap, to explain that we did a little bit of play outside of the stream.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll just kind of summarize and then, give synopsis for whatever we need as we play.
Right. So we did play just a little bit. Lizard in Tux, yo. Welcome to the stream.
Hello.
We were just about to do our recap, so you're in perfect time. So we did about an hour of play off screen to take care of some mundane matters. Hey, Mark, good. That's fun that you've changed it to Lizard in Tux. So the hour off screen, we just had Brise kind of take care of some shopping. We had the entire entourage travel with her to pick up an item that she had enchanted at a magic shop to give her greater skill in diplomacy, since she's meeting with nobility today. And then the whole entourage, Adabir, the wizard Adabir, you may recall, and his new apprentices, who will be introduced as as need be, and various supplies. They all went in a convoy to Miagral Keep, where Lady Miagral, the goblin ruler of this region of the nation of Narguz, is expecting them. They got there without incident. And they were greeted in the main bailey of the castle, and they were shown to their quarters, a mansion just beyond the castle. And we had them sit down for a meal with Lady Miagral and some of her heads, and so we're going to do that discussion. We're going to have that discussion and then see where the story takes us from there. We know that Lady Meagral is very cagey. She's very watchful.
Right.
And she is herself a goblin, so around 5 foot tall, greenish skin, long pointed ears, big jowls. They usually have quite a pot belly and sort of a short trunk, but she's very scrawny and very old for a goblin. But she's a respected power in the area, and the town in the valley below, Balabry, it is totally under her control until it conflicts with the king or queen's wishes, which I need to look that up. That's in my database somewhere. I should call that up. Being a game master, I should know. And so they arrived, like we said, and they basically just sat down for a meal of welcoming, sort of a late lunch, and that's where we are. We ended at
having the meal, basically. Yeah.
So yeah, so it is a queen. Just so for your notes, well, I guess for our watchers, the ruler of Nargos as a whole is Queen Alwara, and there's actually a town named for her family. It's a little bit larger than Balabry, but it's Balabry, but it's to the north. So that's where we are. So we're just going to jump into it and let people join us as we go.
Sounds good.
I should, I got to do our notes and things. I should hop and do that real quick. That was something I didn't do. Here, let me send you that spelling too. There's Alwara, just so you can have it down.
Gotcha.
What am I doing? I'm hopping to the notes. That's what I'm doing right here. So, periodically, of course, gang, we post the things in the chat. If you're watching this as a recording, you'll find it down below in the YouTube and in the description. So if you're watching this after the fact, that's great. And but you can find the links to Brise's notes. They're actually updated live. Brise's character sheet, personality, because we do play with a personality in this game, and then our donate link. You can just hop there to support us, or just to laugh at the jokes I've put there, what have you. They make me giggle. And so we're just going to jump right into it. So it's early afternoon at Meagral Keep. Lady Meagral is sitting at the head of the table. You and Adabir are on one side. I guess that would be it. Probably the two apprentices on the other. And then the rest of the crew that came along, with exception of the guards, are here and there. Goblins place a lot of emphasis. Hey, Pooch Hugger. Goblins put a lot of emphasis on family, so they had talked briefly of family and whether or not Adabir's daughter, Felagel, will be joining. But there's some discord in that family, so we'll see how that shapes out. Dinner, the sort of late lunch. Do you have any goals, Max, for this in terms of getting answers to questions or anything like that? Or should we just roll through? What would you like to do?
Well, I definitely want to just leave a good impression on the lady. I don't have any specific questions. So I think it's pretty clear that I'm gonna, be with Adabir, kind of like looking to him for any kind of tasks or what I should be doing. So, but yeah, I'll just try to be social and try to, if anything comes up, I'll contribute tastefully to the conversation if I can.
All right then.
So however we just roll through that, or
Sure.
yeah.
Um, she sort of questions everybody, sort of gives them a bit of her time, but not merely as a matter of grace, but as a matter of I mean, there's a real sense of tactics to
Yeah.
it. Um, so Adabir and she don't discuss business per se, but they do schedule a time to meet to discuss what she's after in terms of his magical services. Um, and he they make an arrangement, and he's very gracious and um, but very familiar at the same time with him. They did apparently have a very positive relationship when last they saw each other. Who knows, two or three decades ago.
Yeah.
Um, so the um, questions each of the apprentices about what brings them into orbit with Adabir and their interests, as far as she can ask us specific questions, not knowing that much about magic.
Hmm.
Um, um, but their answers are, it seems, in your opinion, deliberately too technical to follow,
Huh.
because you are baffled by them yourself.
Ah.
Um,
I see.
and and so it does. Oh, hey, Quinn. Oh man, Quinn, you suck, man. As always, let's wish Quinn best luck in getting his health problems sorted out. Good luck, Quinn. You poor sap.
Good luck, Quinn. Also, I like how his comment saying pointing upwards. This guy in Restream, it looks like he's pointing to Lizard and Tux. So
That's funny.
Lizard and, Lizard and Tux, I think you are the
That's
depending
right.
on where you're watching this.
That's right. Um, so um, she questions Adabir largely about the volcanoes and about um, if there's more that she could do, and he said, you've been of tremendous help. Just getting us guides to take us to that list will be terrific. Uh, when it comes your time, she turns her keen eye on you, and she says, Adabir had mentioned that um, you had your family plagued um, by demons and by people in the cult. I know of his expertise in that area, but how did the two of you meet?
I just tell her it was simple. I was looking for people knowledgeable in the task, and I actually found his name and mentioned in a book of research and sought him out.
He wrote some of that here. Did you know that?
Hmm. No, I did not.
He's quite the researcher. He had one of the smaller houses at the edge of the property. We had to put him there for safety reasons, apparently. Um, not knowing the energies that he might unleash, we thought it was safest. Unless I'm very much mistaken, you yourself are a magic user, if that bird on your shoulder is any indication.
To an extent, yes. Not as sophisticated as our other members here, but I know how to cast a few spells.
How was it that your family run afoul of demons and cults?
Well, okay, I got to make up a story now, don't I? Can I just tell her it's kind of a long story? Try to dissuade the
Sure.
topic a little bit. Yeah, it is a long story and something I'd rather not go into over lunch. But
Roll for me.
55.
Hard to tell. He ran afoul of that bird on his shoulder. Quinn, that is terrible. That is awful. Man, you should tweet that. It's hard to tell if she buys it. She's very closed.
Mhm.
Turns to I've already got a drum roll from Pooch Hugger. That's funny. Yeah, for any of our new watchers, we often do drum rolls for big moments, including, of course, the miracle roll, which I am obligated to explain and point out. So a miracle roll is a once per session roll that each player gets, and they ask a question, and if they roll 100, then I have to make that question come up the way they want, positively. So, and so we've had a couple of instances, not in this tale, but in other tales that we've played. But so, oh, excuse me, Gag, sleepy headache today. Oh, I'm gonna see how long I last. So we'll watch out for the miracle roll, and if you hear us prepping for it, help us remember that we need drum rolls to encourage the dice.
You really do need drum rolls.
Yeah, that is always a great thing. So Lady Mugral, takes your answer sort of with a silent nod, moves on to other people, checks with the head man, whose name I've forgotten, but the Adabir's chief butler asks him if he finds the staff adequate, and he answers very graciously that they seem to be a fine staff, and she says that, of course, if there's anyone else you might need, then just let her know, and she will see to it that you have it. She is here to provide what you each need to accomplish your task. And then she turns back and says, which raises the question of you, my dear, what exactly is your task here?
Well, I am assisting Adabir in more of a practical perspective. Practical perspective, in terms of any of, well, hold on, what should I tell her exactly? Because he's researching the volcano, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So to guard dangers in the wilderness and around the area he's researching. So basically along the lines of that, I'm kind of a guard, kind of a scout, and also kind of just doing some of my own exploration of the area.
She says, after your misfortune, your family's misfortune with demons, I'm surprised that you would want to put yourself in further danger as an adventurer. It seems odd to me.
Well, I'm the type of person that would how do I say that? Well, my situation happened because of negligence. So I'm, by being proactive and actually learning as much as I can, and basically getting stronger, is really the only thing you can do to prevent another situation like that. I'm not just going to sit home and hope nothing like it ever happens again.
Roll for me.
32.
She says, you hope genuinely, but you can't tell. She says, good for you. Um, she says, a woman of your fine appearance could obviously simply find suitors and find married life very easily and very quickly. It's good that you are plunging into your own fate.
Thank you. You're one of the first people to tell me that. As you can probably tell.
Well, men are only good for so much. And, she looks at the other women, and gives them a nod, and they all sort of nod in agreement. Of course, she's going to disagree with her. Um, so, um, and
Adabir nods. Wait a second.
That's right. Wait, there's a secret here. That's right. It's actually Ada Beard. That's his name.
And a beard.
That's right. Um, um, so
Quinn, this goblin woman is like 67. I'm like 18.
That's right.
Oh, this took a dark turn.
What's the line from Family Guy? He says, "Are you giving my husband a diagnosis, or are you hitting on him?" And the doctor goes, "Can it be both?"
Oh, yeah, yeah, that doctor.
So Gilf, I do love that. Yeah, great grandmother. I'd like to. Yeah, it's so great.
Gilf.
We had that joke years ago. We would go. If the woman looked particularly older, we'd be like, "Oh my gosh, it's a gilf."
Oh man.
The meal goes well. She is sort of probing everyone very carefully. Let's roll for your overall impression. What you believe her impression of you is.
Okay. 55.
55. You think you made a decent impression. You think that as her comments, throughout the meal continue, it does seem like she was genuine about her being impressed with you not accepting a domestic life. And so, she rises, you all rise when she takes her leave. You all kind of give her a bow. She returns the bow, and then she leaves. And Burlow, who is the head butler, brought from Adabir's staff, he took his discomfort as long as he could, being at the table of his betters. He hops up and claps at the staff and says, let's get this cleared away. And, can we, bring you guys refreshments, drinks, and Adabir's like, no, just, I'm going to rest after the journey and all that. And so people kind of, get shown to their rooms, and that's it.
I'm reading Quinn's comments. He used to own a tavern, but he ran out of beer.
Yes.
This poor 90-year-old crippled man.
Yeah, the way that Quinn wrote that, Quinn, is like you're trying to get us to do the delivery from Life of Brian. He used to own a tavern, His name was Biricus.
Not a beer.
That's right.
That's great.
So a goblin servant girl shows you to your room, second floor. They're very large rooms with a sitting area. So they're basically sort of suites where you have a bedroom and a sitting area. And the apprentices are on the same floor as you, and so everyone just sort of gets to the place. Adabir's bedroom is not surprisingly downstairs. You can see that, Burlow is everywhere, taking sort of an appraisal of everyone, checking rooms before people enter them, snapping orders, and this kind of thing. Roll for me.
1.
Well, that's terrific. He, like you, seems to enjoy goblins. Their sense of humor, something about them. He seems to get along well with them and like them. And whatever they're cooking out there smells good.
Is that like I rolled a 1, so I like just got the opposite of impression of like what he actually despises goblins, but it's like he likes goblins.
he's the best
so
pal
low.
ever.
Yeah. And remind me, Burla is the head of staff.
Yeah, so that's the head man whose name I can never remember. And so
wait, no, okay, wait. So he's Aldros. He's Adabir's head man.
Yes,
He's accompanying. Okay, and so now
yeah,
he's kind of
he's taking over that role here,
right.
but
Gotcha.
with a staff he didn't pick, which is going to suck for him. They tend to like to pick their own staff.
Right, so they might not be as loyal. Yeah. Okay. And I remember I was supposed to keep an eye on Burla, make sure that he's not kind of selling us out for money.
Right. We know that somebody is. We know that the goblins are. We know that Lady Miragrol is going to put spies amongst the staff. We know that, so one sign that Burlow has been bought out would be watching his spending habits. Yeah. And so if he suddenly starts dressing in finery, hey, I've got this new ring, that kind of thing, then he'll have given himself away for what he's, by what he's spending.
I'm imagining like I'm just watching him and he's like standing there giving orders, and I blink and suddenly he has like a gold chain, and I blink again, he has like a fancy hat. It's like, what the?
Yeah, he's got his own entourage. He's got a manager and a publicist and bodyguard.
Starts like appearing around him. Like, I don't see anything wrong with this situation.
Yes. There's apparently going to be a series of meetings with people in terms of like a guard is going to talk about where you can and can't go, things like that. And we'll just kind of wave our hand and say that those occur, say, throughout the afternoon.
Yeah.
So largely you're allowed anywhere you want to go. In this building, you're welcome anywhere in the bottom floor of the keep. Other places, you're not so welcome. If there's a guard outside of it, then you can always ask. And that's the big deal is, obviously you don't want to run approaching Mia Grawl if she's out for a walk. You want to wait for her to acknowledge you. These kind of things of social graces.
Yeah.
And so you're sort of, bounce between unpacking and getting your bearings of the place and enjoying the view. This is, I guess we should say for our audience, that this is high up on the slope above Ballabry, and so you really look down onto the town, and it's just a beautiful view of the valley. This castle was almost certainly elven or dwarven before the invasion. So it's at least 350 years old. That's when the Goblin invasion was. And they carved out a nation out of Goblin and Elven lands here in the mountains. You sort of learn about the place, and you're also told, if you have any trouble in town, the magistrate there is is a good friend of the family's. He's the chief judge, basically, for the town. So his name is Tianok, Tianok, and you can always ask to speak with him. Um, if you get, drunk and rowdy, anything like that, and you need to, use a get out of jail free card. Um, and
Really quick. So when you say the magistrate, is that him, Tianot, or is that the organization of
no,
magistrates?
Tianok is
Is
the
the
chief.
magistrate. Okay.
He's the magistrate for this town.
That can mean like a group of people too. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, so he's, there might be other judges, but he's the head of judging
Yeah.
of the judicial arm here. Uh,
I'd
right,
also want to see him about straightening out the alleyways and making things more easier.
exactly. Trying to get the lay of the town. Who's the DOT here?
Asking for a map.
That's right. Um, so, um, um, so yeah, so we'll call it late afternoon. I don't know what your plans are. Um, there's several sitting rooms downstairs for use by anyone, and just to relax in. Fires are kept going there until late at night.
So yeah, the two things I want to do is definitely explore, the place. However, we just want to, do that. Just
Yeah,
say that happens,
right.
unless I see something interesting. And two, I do want to go check out that rock garden because I'm really interested in sculpture, and I would have
Right,
seen that on the way in and been like, I got to check that out later. So
right. So
as soon as
yeah,
I get some free time, I would definitely go out there and admire that, a little while.
sure. The goblins gang, they do rock sculptures in areas that can't support plants, and so higher up here on the mountain where you don't have a lot of attractive plants that can endure the snows, they instead do sort of abstract rock sculptures, leaving the rock as natural as they can, but while enhancing its particular characteristics. And so there's a large one behind this mansion here on the estate. And so roll for me.
31. And I did have a question to ask
Yeah.
one of the guys as well. I would ask them about venturing clothes, like is like how might come in wearing spears and in a mace and my or a flail at my side. Is that going to be a concern to the lady or to any of the staff? Should I?
Yeah, I would think you pose that to the head of security dude, and so
Mhm.
um, his argument is to carry them cradled in your arms,
Okay.
like so, and like you would carry a load of firewood. I don't know to what extent you've ever done that in your life, but
Right.
um, but and so that's something I don't miss about country life is getting firewood. I don't miss that at all. We would mound our pickup truck, full size pickup. We would mound it over the cab. That's how much firewood we would get for one load.
You need a lot of it too, because I've chopped it like once or twice, and it's like spend like 30 minutes chopping it. It's like it's all gone in like an hour.
Yep.
Fire.
Oh man.
A lot of firewood.
So Obi-Wan's on the stream. That's so fun.
So carry weapons and arms. Does it not appear like I'm wielding them, right, or prepared to use them?
Exactly. You'll be at an obvious disadvantage.
Yeah.
If something happened, it'll be a sign of peace, which is
Okay.
what they say. Anthropologists believe that's what this is. Why this is
Yeah.
universally sort of a hello. It shows that your hand is empty.
Yeah.
And that some cultures actually do it two-handed to say hello. And it's to show that you mean no harm because your hands are free of weapon. And so,
The other thing, I guess, so armor is also fine if I walk in armor,
yes,
but have my weapons
yes.
not presented.
He tells you privately, he's like, I know some of you may have the magic to teleport. He says you will find that difficult and painful to do in and out of here.
Okay. I ask him, is it safe then to teleport outside the wall?
Oh, I wouldn't do it too close.
Okay.
Not within bow shot.
Not within bush. Okay. Good. That's pretty far though.
Well, it'd be, it's going to be 300, 400 feet or
I just need
so.
to find a bush, and I'm like, that looks
Yeah.
memorable.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. That's
Yeah.
all you can do, right?
Yeah.
Roll for me. This is something that just occurred to me.
4.
Well, never mind. It was an intellectual roll. When I guess whenever you have like a roll of reasoning or intelligence, I should just have people give you the drum roll because, dear
I mean,
God,
then you're going to be drum rolling all the time. It's half
this is
the
true.
roll.
Um,
Just got to take it and move on.
exactly.
If I don't think about something, doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Ostrich in the sand.
That's right. Oh, that is so funny, Quinn. I read your chat. I'm still waiting for supper. I read that as Obi-Wan's, and I'm like, I thought they were done with supper out there. I had no idea what is going on. All right then. Do you have anything else to say? Um, he says, obviously, I don't need you bringing back any items here that would put any of us at risk, items that might be cursed, items that might, or creatures that might be dangerous. You'll have to deal with those on your own.
Okay. I thought one thing I thought of, and I don't know how I want to ask this question is, if Kralum ever appears, manages to find me and, tries to sneak into the keep, is there any, I mean, he would probably know if there's any like guards against creatures like that. I'll just ask him that then. It's like, are there, just out of curiosity, are there guards against, such beasts or other creatures coming in from the wilderness? Or is that not a concern this far up the mountain?
We get our share every now and then, at least near the walls, of hammerworms, the occasional troll. But a troll would have to be lost to come here. I mean, they know by now that this is a place only of arrows for them.
Right.
So you get some of the snow ogres. They are dumber, harder to teach that lesson to. So about once a year, we'll get a band of those. But my men and the walls and our remoteness are generally the protections we have against such things.
Gotcha. So it sounds like they have magic in place against teleports, but not against like, any kind of demons or any creatures like entering. Yeah.
Or he's not willing to reveal.
True. But I have to, I just have to take that with a grain of salt.
Do you see what Poochhugger posted?
Yeah, but I'm concerned is like, Poochhugger, do you mean is the plot lacking crazy beasts? Because there are plenty of crazy beasts in romance.
Exactly. That's right. So it looks like it's going to be well into the it's going to be probably early evening before you feel like you're sort of free to leave. I don't know if you want to leave and start in the town. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like what your plans are immediately after the sort of orientation and so on at Miagraw's. Like, are you planning on going out adventuring pretty soon?
I am planning on going out adventuring. Yeah. Well, again, the other thing I want to check with Adabir, right? How, if I'm needed in any extent, as I think that's a priority. And then if not, then I will spend that day adventuring. And I think it would be going into town, finding a guild, finding a tavern, and seeing what some of the local news is and what any kind of interesting
Right.
spots are near town. So,
Right.
but again, first I would like to explore the keep. Well, you could just say I spend the rest of the day doing that, checking out the
Yeah.
rock garden.
The rock garden is you find it it's sort of very interesting and peaceful, like not thrilling as some sculpture can be for you. It's much subtler, you know.
Mm,
It's just sort of working within the rock to allow it to be a rock, but highlighting, highlighting the beauty of a particular rock. And it's surprising their skill at that. Um, Certainly on par with some of the dwarven work that you've seen, and that in itself is surprising. Um,
right.
so there are many sets of stables. It's been made pretty clear that you're supposed to use your own set, so that you can keep track of your animals and know where they are. Animals that you're familiar with your horse.
Hmm.
Because if you put them into some of the larger stables, then they can get taken out by anyone for use by the
Right.
staff
Okay.
and then that sort of thing. Um, there's a smith working away, not goblin, which is interesting. Um, uh, Human smith, repairing armor, working on swords, and just has a line of work there. And he and a number of other younger smiths are hammering away day and night. Um, and I like lizards asking anybody if they want a sandwich.
Yeah. Does the Smith want a sandwich? You can get one for him.
That's right. Um, so there are robed goblins that walk around here and there. You see in
Hmm.
passing. Um,
Robed, probably magic users or just
that is
wearers.
definitively the feeling you get.
Okay.
Lots of pouches.
Mhm.
Um,
So they didn't just step out of the shower. Gotcha.
exactly. Yeah, you're going to learn later in the let's say in the stream, if you will, what a goblin shower is. We're gonna.
It's definitely very low to the ground, right?
It is. They have to arc it. That's the thing. Um, but so yeah, you spend a couple hours walking around. Clearly, there are guards. They've been clearly told to keep their lip in check. You're not getting cat calls. You're not getting. Um, they're not,
Nice.
barbing you for a fight like goblins tend to do, like these verbal barbs to get an argument going.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and um, so they've been, told to leave you be. Of course, as you get more familiar with them, develop a relationship with them, no doubt you'll get it. Um, Lizard, you're in the Caribbean, the Bahamas. I think that's still part of North America. I think it's part of the North American plate. But anyway, the fact that you're on an island. But so the so yeah, it's not as grand as some of the castles around some of the elven cities that are just millennia old and have been added to ad nauseum.
Hmm.
Um, but larger than this town would suggest that it should have. So the like I said, there are clearly a handful. Um, oh, that's terrible, Quinn. Um, so, but clearly there are other magic users on staff, and they give you a quiet nod. They come out of you're seeing a lot of them coming and going from the back part of the keep as you're just walking around. The kitchens are also back there, so maybe they're just hungry. Um, there are regular guards, guards posted at regular intervals, I should say, on the walls of the front portion of the keep, less so in the back and toward the towers, just because the slope goes up so sheer from that point that you can't really um, you can't really approach from that unless you're just straight falling.
Oh yeah.
Um, so um, so that's your tour of the place.
All right.
And I'll probably sketch out just a brief diagram of it. Um, but
So it's
for you,
probably
it's
pretty late then now, right?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So,
One other thing, it would be interesting to see if I can continue my language training because I was trying to learn Dwarven, and that might be kind
yes,
of tricky here. So one, I would need to find, I guess, one of the staff members or any of the people in Adabir's company that's free.
and just find out if anyone who speaks Dwarven here and who would wants to make
Yeah,
a few extra coin.
yeah. I don't know how you want to do that. Like, I'd have to go from person to person, or if there's maybe
We'll do an overall roll for your luck on it.
sure, just over the course of
And so we'll just have you head back. Kersey, you know what? I'm just gonna put Burlow in charge of it. Just have
Oh
Burlow.
yeah, good idea.
Just
Yeah.
say, could you ask among the staff and find out if who in the household or out of the household might be able to teach me Dwarven. That's been an interest of mine.
Yeah. And I should say I have some experience already to take
Right,
a few lessons, but I want to continue them.
right. He says, of course. I don't know. Given you're gonna have a long-term relationship with Burlow, I don't know if you want to, I don't know, slip him coins or not. I'll leave that to you. I don't know how you want to approach that.
Well, he is. I
Let
grew
him
up in
listen.
a household, right? And he is
Yes,
a servant, so he should get paid by the people who already pay
he
him.
should be content with his pay.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't feel.
no, that's
If he was
fine.
a stranger, I'd bribe him, but he's kind of in service. So
You should pay him 100 gold, and then when he spends it on finery, accuse him of being bribed, and then get in.
and then he's like, "But you gave me the gold." I'm like, "What nonsense is that? What are you talking about?"
Look at this beautiful face. Would I do that? I think not. You
Oh, that's
jerk.
so funny.
Um, so that's fine. So he's like, of course, I'll try to have you a name by tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes about his duties. Um, so probably find Adabir, I would guess, sometime before he goes to bed because it's got to be close to his bedtime.
Yeah.
And so they're sort of doing just a come as you go kind of dinner as people get situated. And so you find Adabir at the dinner table, serve yourself something and ask him, sort of what the next plan is.
Right. When would I be possibly needed?
He says that the that the plan is presently that Miagraw has men out who are making contacts in the areas by each fire mountain, by each volcano. And so they're getting guides, local guides for each one. And once the first of those are secured, the apprentices, at least one of the apprentices and maybe some hired help, will go to each location to scout it. He said, now that's several days away. We don't expect for the first of those to be ready before 3 or 4 days to go and scout locations. I don't know, would you like to be a part of those parties? Or do you want to wait until we find one that seems promising?
Yeah, would I rather be, or would I rather be left to my own devices? We could just say if I'm available that day, I'll certainly go. But I can't promise if I'm doing something else, then I might not be available. So we'll play it by ear then. that's all right.
I expect that as you go about your own explorations of the area, as you return, if Lady Meagril can find you, you'll be asked what task you are performing.
Oh, okay.
The safest answer, I think, will be to tell her you were attempting to gather rare materials for me. Um, Now, there's two approaches to this we could use. You could tell them, you could literally make up the name of something that you were seeking,
Mm-hmm.
or I could give you a list. Um,
Okay.
and because she has magical advisors already, and it is not beyond her at all to go to them and run that information by them. You might as well also assume that any question you're asked by a staff member on these grounds, you might as well expect that to treat that as a question being asked by the lady.
Right.
It may seem friendly, it may be friendly, but Lady Meagril leaves nothing to chance.
Right.
And we will be probed and tested in every way for our entire stay here. If that be years, then it will last years. She checks everything and then double checks.
Okay. So you mentioned about the ploy of looking for materials. Problem with the list, though, wouldn't she ask why you didn't give the list to one of her staff who might be better suited? Or could, I guess in that case, it would just say that, it required, my expertise of rugged terrain and my eagerness to do it myself, right? That should be fine.
You can simply tell them to come ask me that you don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
And it will not be, most of the time, of course, you should fail in your quest. If there's such rare items, rare materials, then most of the time you'll fail anyway. And so if they ask to see what you've gathered, you can just tell them you've had no luck. But this will be a weird and lengthy game of cat and mouse, so long as we're here.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. In that case, a list would be good, just to further that untruth, make it more believable.
He asks for pen and paper. And I should say that when you guys have this discussion, he stops you from talking whenever there's staff around.
Right. I was thinking of that, like we're at the dinner table. So
yeah. And so if a servant comes in, he just changes the topic.
Mm-hmm.
And so
he started speaking Pig Latin.
Right. And so with a servant nearby, he says, he says openly, these will be difficult to come by. It may take you many, many tries to get even one of them, but these are things I need. And he begins writing things down. And he says, I think this will be within your ability to accomplish, but I don't expect quick results. And he writes you a list of 6. He says, we can discuss these more about, where is the best place to find them, and so on.
Wink really obviously got it.
Exactly.
Now I say, well, I'll do my best, and I'll let you know if I have any questions.
So yeah, make yourself a note there that you've got now it's an actual list of actual materials, but I guess he fake needs them.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
What do you call that? What is that? It's because you can't call it a faux list, and it's not fake materials.
It's a red herring, isn't it?
Yes, there you go. Atterbeer's red herring list. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
And literally, he needs red herring. It's like it tastes so good.
I was watching when Craig Ferguson was still on the Late Show, which I mean I love Craig Ferguson. Um, he was doing a show in Scotland, and they were he had one of his favorite guests on, which is apparently this young girl. She's of Inuit descent, and her family runs a plane business, um, and like up in Alaska, and so he was like, This is smoked herring." And like right out of the smoker, these hanging, rotating racks of herring, right out of this big, like it was like a giant pizza oven, about 6-7 feet across.
Yeah.
So they took it out and they pulled a couple of pieces, and it just falls apart in your hand. And she puts a piece in her mouth, and she goes, "Oh my God, that is the best thing I have ever tasted." And he's like, "It's good, right?" They just sat there and ate the fish right out of their hand. I'm like, man, I want to do that, man. Have smoked herring right out of the smoker. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard of stuff like that where they'll package fish from Alaska, and literally ship it over here in a crate of ice. You can do stuff like that. It's just fish is fresh, like it has so much flavor.
Yeah, yeah. You watch some of those survival shows, and they'll catch salmon. You know, just using odds and ends, they'll catch a salmon. And they're like, we haven't started a fire yet, but you can eat salmon raw. It's fine. And he's just literally just tearing it with his hands. And he's like, it just tastes amazing.
Yeah.
And it's right out of the icy water, So, but anyway, yeah, I have the best thing I've ever put in my mouth. So you would think she would have had fresh fish, being from Alaska. You'd think, she would have had plenty of shot. But I guess the smoking maybe really put it over the edge for her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's early evening. You guys finish your talk. Your little bird is perched on your shoulder. You're trying to give it pieces of bread and so on because it can't go hunt for itself.
Fetch its own stuff, yeah.
And trying to think what else he might talk to you about. But so he basically says, so long as you can be back here, let's say at the end of 3 days, I guess technically 3 days from now, right? Then you can at least check in with us and see.
Speaking of 3 days, that reminds me, when am I supposed to talk to the Trindos again?
Tomorrow.
Right. So they saw me in the 12th, 13th, 14th is today. Okay. Yeah. So I definitely got to make sure I don't know how we're going to do that yet. If I'm private in my room, they're not too conspicuous, but.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and it occurs to you, Crowlem right now should be reading your note.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I was supposed to meet him on the 14th. Yeah.
Right.
In the stables.
Atterbeer does tell you that in his private meeting with Mia Grawl, Aldruff has sent word. He leaves tomorrow. And he hopes to arrive by the 23rd. So 9 days from now.
Arrive by the 23rd. That's wonderful news.
They come to an agreement.
I would also ask Atterbeer, did the lady mention me at all? Did her impression of me? Just out of curiosity.
She is hard to read, but I could tell even from the dinner. She's quite impressed with you. I would even go so far as to say that she's taken an interest in you.
Okay. That'll be good for us.
I would agree.
Yeah.
She does worry, though, that your poor demon-haunted past may bring some ill upon the castle. And I have assured her that I would not have brought you here if I thought that was the case. And certainly we're trying to free you of any demonic influence, which is part of my research here.
Right.
Um, she is, of course, still wary, but it's not as though she blames you for your misfortune. Um, so, um, so you, yeah. So I guess you just kind of retire, unless you've got other questions for Annabir.
No, I think that's good. I'll just go back to my room, do some reading, and go to bed.
And you walk in. Roll for me.
93.
And though you jump a little bit, you have company, and it's Verilag.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay. Okay.
But you remember she was supposed to visit you.
Yes, but I'm just thinking of what I need to do right now. So, I mean, I would. So my first thought is like talking aloud. People would overhear us, so I guess I should keep my voice down.
Right.
I would close the door, and address her just softly, like, "Oh, it's
my lady."
Hello, my lady.
Highness, I guess, really.
Yeah. My queen.
And she says, "You have certainly moved up in the world." She's got a book in her lap. She was just reading.
Okay.
Roll for me.
26.
I mean, I couldn't really make out what it was. As she closes it, there is a map rolled up beside her on the couch. That's hilarious. You see Quinn's list of items.
Eye teeth. I'm really curious what that is. Is it an actual Rollmaster item? Or
That's right. It's a simple list. Just a few common items like the eye teeth of a live dragon, the unborn child of a human and halfling, the pubic hair of a troll, and frost giant urine.
Does it matter which sex of troll? Does it need to be female or male pubic hair?
I mean,
or both.
That's right. It's particularly a trans troll. If you can find a trans troll, that's
no,
because it is infrequent. It is.
Well, Kevin, it's Pride Month. It's June, so
this is true. So
bring some awareness. Yeah,
that's right. I'm not trying to troll trans. I am trying to say that there are trans trolls, truly.
Okay, I guess that's one way to bring awareness.
That's right.
Make a tongue twister.
That's right. How else would you do? I don't understand.
Put that on Twitter. Just get like millions of upvotes.
Exactly.
With so many people watching our stream. All right. Well, yeah, Verilag.
Yeah, she tells you that the defenses here are considerable. They take their security seriously, though. Obviously, there are ways in.
Yeah, goblins. protect their castle.
So this is your new patron, I see.
Yes.
And these lands are now goblin lands. This was all dwarven country, though not the dwarven nation as you know it. Funny, Karen. And this was the Berdosian dwarves' country when I was here.
Okay.
When I ruled lands to the north. But Yes, a patron like this could help you accomplish many of your goals. Well, fantastic. You've still not encountered any strange animals attempting to make contact? I sense that's a familiar on your shoulder.
Oh, yes. Yeah, this is the only animal I've been making contact with. That's a very weird way to put that.
You Floridians are always.
This is yes, this is my familiar, and no, nothing strange about it.
You've not been overly familiar
No,
with the
not
familiar.
overly familiar with my familiar.
There you go.
Can I get a human familiar? Can I get?
Um, it has to be non. The animal has to be non-intelligent.
I think yeah, I think we brought that up before. It's like just for the sake of.
So Quinn would qualify. Boom, Quinn.
Oh,
So, Alvin Squeezy.
yeah, but I just tell her flat out, no, I've not seen any strange animals.
Well, I am pleased to announce that you're not the only one who is making progress.
Oh, well, that's good.
Oh man, she is in a talkative mood. Wow. I have secured the allegiance of two elven nobles.
Oh, see.
In promise, of course, I have to uh, provide them certain baubles of power and that sort of thing. But they have considerable resources. Um, and we might soon have a lovely keep built in the east country of the Elven states. Um,
Okay. Pull my map here and see where that is. Okay, yeah, so that's not far at all.
no. Um, um, with a few enchantments, I should be able to provide them their men with greater strength, um, maybe even little peeks into the future for their advisors. It should turn out to be quite profitable. Things are coming together nicely.
Do I want to ask her about the? No, yeah, I don't think there's anything really I want to ask her about that. I'll just nod and say that's well, I'm happy to hear that. that's good news for you.
That would be kind of interesting. Think about that. It's a long-term plot, and I would just flush down the toilet. I don't know if I'm ready to do that. So far, people seem relatively unaware of my escape from that unjust prison, and perfectly willing to accept the help of a powerful individual. Speaking of, do you have any thoughts on me approaching the ruler of this keep? What is your impression of him?
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there, Kevin. Impression of him, was that on purpose or?
I I don't know. I mean, you mean
When
I
you
mean,
said impression of him, is that her saying that, or was that just a
no, no,
Freudian
no.
slip?
That's her saying it. That is her.
Okay, okay. So then, does she think? I don't know if she's assuming that, or if she thinks Annabir. I mean, I guess there's nothing I do but to correct her. Yeah.
Right. Smack her on the hand. I mean, she's a powerful demon-powered sorceress, but I
No,
don't
I'm
think
just
there's
saying. I don't know. That might be a loaded thing. Her saying him, like she might be thinking of something, and I'm thinking through that, but I
right.
don't know enough information. So I'll say, well, it's actually the lady Miagral is her name. Um, um, but well, how would I respond to that question? Would I? Oof. Would it be a good approach to say, well, she is powerful, but you might find someone bigger yet, kind of like stoke her ego a little bit.
So she's probably too small time.
Right, right, yeah. It's like the town she rules over is sizable, but there's probably better options out there. People with more influence who'd be better off.
She seems to sort of take your advice. A pity.
Hmm.
To regain my old lands, I will have to overthrow at least the northern half of this nation. It would be fitting if I could find some of the northern goblins to do the work for me. That does have a more delicious appeal to it. Maybe I will cast my net up there and see what I can find. Um, she rises. She's in just really good spirits. Um, and she, make sure, right. She, she pats the mat on the on the map on the couch, and she says, "There, as promised, is a map with some areas of interest for you to explore. I hope your duties here will still permit that. But again, I want you to be careful. Your safety is important to me, as is your success." Um, and she she says, "I will check in on you from time to time, of course." And she stands and waits for you to bow.
And I will, thank her for the map deeply, and bow, and until we meet again.
She makes a gesture in the air, and a portal opens. You can tell it opens like slowly, and she has to concentrate.
Yeah.
Um,
Damn. She could open a portal.
and so you can see through the portal. It is transparent. The interface of the portal is transparent. Not a place you recognize. It is rural. It's there's vegetation there. There's not a sign of a building. And she steps through, and it closes behind her.
Pooh Sugar, she is a mom checking on your homework, but she's an insane mom who, if you disobey her, she's going to imprison you for like 90 years.
Yes, yes.
Oh. A mom who can open portals and step into your room at any time.
That's right.
Rummage through your things.
There's no locking the door against this mother. Uh, what do you think about taking a break? We're about an hour 15 in, and we're sort of at a good stopping point. And we can get back, have you do a little reading, and move on to the next day.
Yeah, I think that's good.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for hanging out with us. We'll be back after just a few minutes. We will we'll we'll be back after we get some beverages and so on. So thanks for joining us. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thanks for hanging with us through the break. I hope you had an enjoyable break.
Hope it
We
was
just
more enjoyable than us playing.
harsh, harsh.
This is the break for people. Step away from their computers when we start.
When we're up, they're gone. That's
Welcome back, everyone.
that's right. And we want to thank. You saw her information up on the artist information up on the Take a Break page, but that's by Elliot Dunovitz, who did the work there, and you can find her work online, and we thank her for her contribution. Looks marvelous. That is our intrepid Brise there with her various gear ready for action and
Magic spear, bolas, ready for anything.
That's right, ready to be crushed like a bug by this game. So
by Verilag.
That's right, by Verilag. So Verilag leaves through a portal, and now we're left with a somewhat shaken Brise.
Yeah, I can't think if I would do anything. I would probably just, brush it off. If anyone asked me, hey, were you talking to someone? I would just, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So
sure. What are they going to do, right?
Try to just, stay in my room, do a little bit of reading if I can, and try to go to bed. And did Laula, my bird, react at all? Just out of curiosity in your presence? I don't
know. Seemed to be a little unsettled, like kept shifting its perch.
Mm-hmm.
On your shoulder, not as calm as usual. But that's hardly surprising.
Yeah.
So you're a little sapped from the day, so I think we're going to have you skip reading and just crash and just sort of process the day.
Yeah.
And we're going to move on to the 15th.
April 15th.
So your taxes are now due.
Taxes in Karandrin. On a mountain keep, we'll just shoot arrows at the tax collectors.
Right.
Today's Thursday.
So now give us 3 rolls.
9.
Great.
72.
Yep.
And 73.
You had several unsettling dreams. They dealt with Verilag.
No surprise. Yeah.
But you really can't remember them very clearly. Just sort of the flavor of them. You wake very early. Like, it doesn't sound like staff is up. No one's coming to your suite to light the fire. And to you, that's all well and good. You're you feel sort of rough anyway. What would you like to do?
Let's take a look at this map that Verilag. Well, I guess take a look at it as in you don't have to describe it, but actually, how do we want to do that out of game? Do you want to send me that, or draw that up, or can we just say, hey, these are the interesting spots I go visit?
I can draw it up and give you. It's something I'm trying to do anyway, is get this region sketched on the map. But I'm having the devil of a time with that frickin' function in between the 2 illustration programs that I'm using.
Yeah.
I found the problem, which we should have discussed off screen, just so you know. But it's whereas I was using a calligraphy tool and Inkscape, which is a free illustration program, if our audience doesn't know, but Affinity doesn't have a calligraphy tool.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and I did try the drawing tablet, and I've got a couple more things to attempt with it, but it's weird. It will sense the placement of the pen, of the stylus, but then won't move the stylus. It's very strange. And so it may be that there's a future update that it needs that will
Yeah, it
make
almost
the
sounds like it's too low low end. If it doesn't support calligraphy, if it's not really responsive to your touch, it could just be that it wasn't really made for that type of stuff, right?
right.
Because those kind of go hand in hand, calligraphy pen with pen touch. So if you're having problems with both, it might be
right. And so I'm gonna see if I can. Anyway, I'm gonna try some different things
sure.
Find a makeshift through Affinity Designer to make a similar looking sort of style of thing.
Right.
And then because I'm trying to do hill icons and mountain icons, and that's the big thing I need, especially for this region, which is just going to be nothing but
all
mountains.
hills and mountains. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that case, yeah, I mean, I'll look at the map, and we don't have to, I guess, describe it in detail unless I want to go to one of the places or.
She's got it's 8 places marked on the map throughout. It's basically a map of sort of the southern third of modern day Nargaz. There's some that might be a little bit into Dwarven territory, but that's hardly pure there for you. You've heard that there are actual border guards between the two nations that will actually check your gear and check that you're not smuggling stuff, and so there might be a little trouble getting in there, but only if you take a main road.
Right.
If you can find just an animal trail leading through the valleys, then it probably is unguarded. Let's roll like the one that strikes you the most. What are your remind me what your biggest interests are in exploration and adventuring?
Yeah. So, and folks, if you want to post the links again, because people can see that too.
Yeah.
You guys can all see that on my personality sheet. I'm particularly interested in places which have a sense of history and creatures. So places with history, creatures, and sculpture. That's another thing I'm interested in. And anything with magic items or magic as well.
So you can leave yourself a note that the writing in the text on your map is in Thax.
Okay.
And of course, note that it's the southern bottom, the southern third of Nargaz. So on the fairly close by, further to the east, there seems to be there's a place called Hammer Falls, and it's marked with a symbol that would seem to indicate a battle, like it's crossed an axe and a sword, marking that. So that might be a place of historic interest. The other places are just vaguer in terms of whether they might be promising or not.
Yeah.
Well,
I think the thing I should do is go into town and kind of ask about these spots, go to Adventuring Guild, see if anyone's visited any of these or what they might represent.
Right. Um, so gear up. I guess you're going for full adventuring.
Yeah, full
Gearing.
adventuring, all my weapons. The guy said I'll have, everything that won't fit on my belt. I'll just carry, which would be my saving spear. So I'll carry that like that as I walk out of the place. I guess I'll grab. Well, do I want to wait around for breakfast as
Well,
well?
that's up to you. I mean, you can always, you figure by the time you're in town,
This one they'll be.
do you want to ride out?
I do want to ride out. Yes, so I want to ride out to get to town, right, and then I would go from somewhere in town. Yeah. So let's fetch my horse from the stables.
Okay.
So yeah, we won't even wait for breakfast because it'll be a little while, like you said. So
Okay. And just leave a note maybe.
yep, about where
And
I'm going.
And say, are you going to say, hey, I'll be gone a couple of days, or you just want to?
Yeah, good point. I will be. Just mention it might be gone a few days.
Okay. And there you go. And
Yeah.
you, yeah, you get your gear on, go outside, get your horse, ride out with it, sort of your spear across your lap.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of guards do stop you, and they question you, and you're like, you must not have heard. I'm with
I'm
Atterbury's
trying to take
party.
over the keep.
Right. This is a one-man army, one-woman army. That's all I need. And so clearly they have heard, but they had just forgotten or whatever. And and they just let you pass. And very few people around except for the night watch. It's just now getting dawn over the mountains. I mean, you really did wake up, pre-dawn.
Yeah.
So you'll be in town plenty of time for, kitchens to get hot and food to be served.
Right.
So yeah, you go down now.
So I will try to find a place further than a bow shot away that would be good to teleport to. Any landmarks, scraggly trees, something I could just point out and
roll for me.
92.
So what occurs to you is that I had you roll for the other day, and you rolled that wonderful 4. Is snow is a complication when it comes to finding a memorable location.
Oh, right.
Because you try to memorize it, right, and then it's gone.
Right. It would have to be something like large and
right, maybe higher up or under an overhang.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of funny. Like there's some things that can complicate.
Right. Now, okay. I don't even know how the mechanics of that would work, right? If I remember the location, but it's been snowed over, like, will the teleport still work, right? That's a good question. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of the mysteries of magic, is not everything is known.
Right. Okay. Well, then I will keep that in mind. And it could even be, a good 10-minute walk from the mountain. I don't really mind from the mountain.
Sure.
10-minute walk from the keep. I don't really mind that.
Yeah.
Should be a spot. Yeah. So I'll just say I ride until I find like a tree or something, like a structure that would be obvious even in the snow.
Yeah, this is a pretty good location. It's an overhang on the side of the mountain, and it's just sort of the unique marbling of this rock, and it's because it's up under, unless it really gets a lot of melt that then freezes, it's memorable. You're around the bend as this the road to the keep sort of turns back and forth over the shoulder of the mountain.
Yeah.
So you're out of sight even of the of the keep, and you'll be partially out of sight of the road,
Okay.
unless they're pretty well on top of you. Um, and if need be, there's room enough for your horse there. Should you decide to leave your horse there, um, and he can just graze and push through the snow with his muzzle, and of course you'll get plenty of water with snow. So it was a crazy thing I learned on that British show that I love, QI, about reindeer, and the sort of the idea of a red-nosed reindeer is that they have a massive heat exchange system in their nose and down their trachea, and it's just massive. And so, like, it changes the temperature of the air by plus or minus 40 degrees.
Wow.
It's just unbelievable.
Wow. Like they're
And so
breathing.
there's so many blood vessels there to heat that air coming into the lungs, because it's so often, sub-zero. And that's where they get the concept of a red-nosed reindeer, is the swelling of the nose for the heating.
That's so funny. I never knew there was like a scientific reason behind Rudolph.
I didn't either.
So Rudolph is just really hot.
Yeah,
burning up.
High blood pressure. Poor guy's gonna have blood pressure.
Rudolph, the high blood.
That's right.
HP.
So you memorize it pretty well. Jot that down. It's on the curving drive. Hey, Mark, welcome back. It's on the curving road up to Miagral Keep, and oops. As you're leaving the keep, it's a couple of hours of relatively ruralness. What state of readiness do you want to adopt? What do you want to have in your hands?
I will. So I'm mounted, right? So
Yeah.
spear would probably be the best option. Yeah.
Sure. Unless you intend spell, or you intend to throw your bola.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, I'll just do spear and shield. If anything tries to come out of me, I have the shield, to block it. So, actually, do I need a free hand for the? How does that work?
No, because you can slide the shield further up to free your hand.
Yeah, and have a hammer and then spear. Okay, yeah,
right.
Yeah, so target shield and spear.
Right, and you can sort of, you can rest the shield sort of on top of the spear, like through an arm, and then
yeah.
You know how you sort of balance it as it goes under your arm, and then on top of your forearm. And so really you can have two hands on the reins until it comes time for action, and then excuse me. Oh, bless me. Sorry. What cures like these sort of allergy problems is some scat. Boo 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 boo.
I thought you were about to go somewhere with that.
So
yeah, you look much better after you did that.
I know, right? It's like a fresh face. So a doctor in college told me, like, you get like the purple marks up here. That's actually blood vessels swelling from allergies. That's actually an allergy response. If you see,
really,
yeah,
not sleeplessness, or I guess it could be also sleeplessness.
But yeah, he was interesting. His name was Angel Vasquez, and he's like, let's check your sinuses. Come with me to this closet. And I'm like, that is a unique statement. And so he took me into this closet, the storage closet, and we shut the door in the darkness. He goes, now open your mouth. And he took his pen light and put it up in my mouth. And he was actually looking at how my sinuses were illuminated. Okay. But it was just an odd encounter with a doctor. Come in this closet. I want to look at your sinuses.
Yeah, no explain. He probably does it so often he doesn't even
think about it. Yeah. He was a nice guy. So the ride down You can tell that the mountains, as one might expect, still house the mysterious and the interesting. Um, on the far slope, um, wow, Obi-Wan Karen, are you sure it was his pen?
It was his pen
Wow,
15.
wow, was his pen 15? Oh my God. Um, and that was when I was touched. No, he was a lovely man. Um, so um, you can see something large moving on the slope, um, on the far side of town, um,
Hmm.
as you're still up, well above the town. When you clear the shoulder of the mountain, and you look over, just appreciating the view of the next mountain over, um, you can see something large enough, um, pushing its way through the vegetation. Can't tell if it's bipedal or more, or
Yeah.
more multi-pedal, more pedal plus pedal. Um,
The talk about trolls on the mountain kind of got me a bit nervous about investigating large hulking creatures.
yes, I don't want you to investigate. That's That's as we remind our viewers. You in Rollmaster, things are not there for you to necessarily interact with.
No,
Th-
yeah, yeah.
Things are there because they're there, and if you want to die, it's a great thing to do is to go poke the dragon. Because I'm not going to save you, because obviously you're an idiot and don't need to be playing Rollmaster, or Karandrin, I should say.
This whole role playing game is just a big IQ test, basically.
It really is. It's not that big of one, honestly. You know. It's like my joke about, I think what we should do is advertise concentration camps. And then if people, uh, if people show up there thinking it's like a think tank, well, they're not coming out, right? I mean, we'll just put them out there. So I think I've told you this before, but I was surprised to learn that concentration camps, like what they were, was to concentrate a certain segment of the population.
Yeah,
And so there were concentration camps, like in France, just for uh, non-citizens, and they
right,
weren't going to die,
right.
but they were like, "Look, you're not a citizen of France. We've taken over this part of France, and so until you can have a relative who is a citizen attest to your identity, you're going to have to stay at the camp." And they were never going to be in any danger or anything. And so it was to concentrate a population. So I had the honor of editing a book by a gentleman who survived such an experience.
Oh yeah.
Um, and and his brother got he and his whole family out, um, by just watching the changing of the guard. And this is at that very top of camp I was talking about. It's one in France.
Yeah.
And so his brother, who was like 12, was the only one. Like he sort of got nominated because it made the most sense for him to try to go and find their cousin who was like 30 miles away
Oh
and get
man.
him to testify. And so they got used to the timing of the guards, and this 12-year-old kid just walked out,
Wow. Wow.
and then spent a month on the road getting everything arranged, and got my author, who was at that time like 2 or 3, and the rest of the family out of that concentration camp.
Wow. That's a great story.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I think there was a reason they should be afraid, but their identity hadn't been discovered yet.
Right.
And so they wound up at some point. This is totally off topic, but I just think it's fascinating. He wound up actually on the French Riviera, which was under
Okay.
Nazi rule. And they stayed, actually, there was one of the posher hotels. They were hiding Jews, and had
Oh,
a inside man with the Gestapo. So
wow.
whenever there was about to be a surprise inspection or raid, the they would get a phone call, and so that saved
Wow.
them on more than one occasion. But they're in hiding at a posh hotel, which is fantastic, right? That's what
Yeah.
refugees deserve. If you're being in
Right.
that much trouble and misery. Um,
That's crazy. I'd never heard like that kind of current perspective. Yeah.
yeah, it was a really interesting book. Um, so I'll tell you more about that off stream. But so so yeah, so you make it down into the town, no problem. God-forsaken town,
Yeah.
streams running through it from the various mountains and little bridges and terraced, and smoke is pouring out of the chimneys of inns and homes. Um, and what would you like to do, sir? I'm gonna ask around.
Yeah. What, one thing I should think about really quick. That one trapper, he's here every 4 days, of more or less, he said. How many
Yes.
days has it been since he was last?
That I don't have.
I'll
It's got
have
to
to
be close,
find him.
right?
Do you remember his name?
I don't remember his name,
Okay, I'll look for it.
but surely
Because if it's like today or tomorrow, I'm like, oh, I should just stop by, see if he's there.
it should be pretty close to that.
Yeah, this is what I need to find it. Breslin is his name, and I talked to him. Yeah, okay. I talked to him on the 12th. Today's
Yeah.
the 15th, so tomorrow he might be back at that one, and so I might stop by there tomorrow. Okay, so never mind that. I'll just go around, and I want to find find adventurers. I got adventurers guild. Yeah, I mean, I could just might as well pick up a membership at this guild as well, because the other one was very useful. So
Right.
yeah. So let's hunt around for maybe an adventurers guild that looks to my needs. So some of a little higher class, not super rowdy, but definitely is busy.
So probably looking for anyone who sells horses or sells like a smith who might sell weapons and shielding. They would probably be the ones to ask. Or, God help you, find your way back to that magic shop and ask there.
No. Yeah, well, honestly, just like if anyone, like you said, like a smith or find another magic shop, sure. Not that.
Yeah. No was the answer.
Even the natives can't find that shop, as we saw.
Yes, you find that you find a smith.
Okay.
Really big operation, apparently. Geez, it's a really large role. You ask about an adventuring guild. He's like, "How much is it worth to you?"
It's worth the price of, I don't know. How do I respond to that question? I guess just take out some money and slide it his way, right? I'll give him.
You could just tell him a number.
Well, because again, this is the difficult thing, right? What is this worth to him? So a smith, how much does like a sword cost?
A broadsword costs 1 gold. A short sword costs about half that.
Okay, well then I'd give him 3 gold. It's definitely a good amount.
He says, "Done." He says, "There's just one guild in town. It's to the south. Directions are, of course, really complicated. It's called the Eternal Lantern."
Eternal Lantern, and then the Everwell. Interesting.
I know, right? It's a long-lived town.
Yeah.
That's what it is, buddy.
Okay. I'll thank
Now, I
him and go on
think
my
this
way.
is definitely where we need some drum rolls because this town is so difficult to navigate.
Yes.
It
Even though I
is,
have directions.
even with directions, um, because of all the terracing and roads splitting up, the uneven
Mountainous
terrain,
terrain, yeah.
streams and bridges, and it's a new place. So if we could have some drum rolls, gang, that would be just lovely because otherwise we know he'll wind up back at the keep. Um,
Just walk back up the mountain to the keep like, I think I've gone the wrong way.
this might be. Oh, thank you, Obi-Wan. This might be also a good place to use your, not your miracle roll, which I wondered if you thought I was going to say, but your familiar, uh, and put her up in the air a good distance and concentrate and try to get the lay of the place.
Yes, I will do that right now while I'm navigating, if that's feasible.
Yes. All right. I guess we're just going to go on the strength of the Jedi to navigate.
Or the Sith.
That's right.
42.
42.
Terrible.
That is pretty decent. Um,
Thank you, Pooch.
um, there you go. Thanks, Pooch Hugger. And then, so you're making good progress. You don't feel lost. Things are making sense. Being able to check this literal bird's eye view. Your we're going to say, that you burn a couple of, let's say 2 or 3 copper, say 3 copper, to stop and get something to eat because we forgot to do that.
Yeah.
So we'll just have you stop in and grab a meat pie or something and keep going. And then roll one more time.
33.
It's slower, but you make it there. The street does seem very familiar. You're pretty certain that Mulya's is on this street.
Of course it is.
Wow, it makes sense, right?
Why don't we leave the guild and go try to see if I'm right?
Okay. Do you want to?
No.
Oh, come on now. Just
I will after I visit the guild.
My God, you big scaredy cat.
I am scared. I'm gonna get lost again.
So small, not surprising, for a town this size. To go in, it's not a local. It's well, as strange as it sounds, it is. Well, roll for me.
40.
It's definitely not full troll. It's probably 3/4 troll.
Wow.
This guy, but he is the size of a full troll. I mean, he is huge. He sits on a big bench because he's literally too tall for the typical stairway and the typical ceiling level, and he just sits on this big bench. He has a chest that he props his feet on. They're just kind of shelves around. There's not like a desk for him, and he greets you in Goblin, gives you an up or down, up and down look, and says in Goblin, now what could you possibly want here?
I want a membership of this fine establishment. This is an adventuring guild, is it not?
Well, bless me. All right. Fair enough. We're not particularly big, but we're always welcome. You're certainly the prettiest adventurer I've ever seen.
Well, thank you.
You're certainly the largest keep I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So he takes his feet off the chest and opens it, and it's filled with coins and ink. Good job, Quinn, you fatty.
You might literally die, so your literary self will perish, but your body and soul will continue living on.
He doesn't have a soul. I've known.
Well, his body will continue on.
That's right. That's right.
It'll be a husk.
So, it's just filled with odds and ends. There's a ledger. There's a bag of coins sitting there, but you're like, who's going to rob this guy?
Yeah.
Who is going to rob this guy?
He'll shake hands with someone and break their arm.
Oh, exactly. Break their ribs. He gives his name as Telwick. He's both bouncer and not really proprietor, but he is the keep and runs the joint. There we go. He's pleased to meet you, and you're pleased to meet the 6 acres of him.
Okay, we get it. He's big.
He really is big. He's just wow. So
I asked him if he would like to help me defeat Verlag. Punch to the face.
Yeah, you're like, hey, I need.
Have you ever wrestled a demon atop a volcano?
It's like, well, I've never lost. No, that's terrifying. Excuse me. So, there we go. Sorry. Oh, get him into the database so we can play him consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take a look at him real quick here. He said, I really thought you humans were too weak to really put yourself in any real danger. Surprising to me. But I'm fine to be wrong.
I'll just comment, to say, coming from someone of your size, calling someone weak is probably not too much of a stretch.
It's probably
not the right person to judge, basically.
Right. It's interesting. His clothing is it's like a bright yellow, and he's it's not cheap. It's nicer material. I mean, not as nice as something that you would wear in town, but it's nice.
Yeah.
What are his? Interesting. It's really funny to me. One of my things for personality on NPCs is like their goals, like how they prioritize their life.
Mm-hmm.
And his highest one is security and safety. Isn't that hilarious?
This immense guy who's no one's gonna dare.
Right. And his highest one, and so don't use this, of course, in your play, but his lowest one, being a troll, it's wealth, and it's at a 1. That is really funny.
Wow.
That
is funny.
Wow. So he says it's 15 silver a month. It comes with free room and board. We've got stables in the back, and He said you can show your membership token, um, so long as it's got a recent date on it, and you can get money off at both the magic shops in town. Um,
Oh, interesting.
they will also be more likely to show you any special goods they have, things that maybe they shouldn't have, like, lock picks. The town's not really happy about us selling lock picks. Um, so, um, um, you know, um, just he is the brute squad. Yeah, he is gigantic. Um, this dude is gigantic. I wish I could get my charts out. I mean, I rolled an open-ended roll,
Right.
and he's already a half troll. I mean, what else do we need? I should look it up.
Yeah, is he feasibly even able to fit inside the building?
I mean, I'm going to have to assume that the door is relatively new and relatively modified.
Yeah.
I don't know what my second roll was. I'm just going to roll it again. That is 163 for height. So he is. What is that difference there? 7 inches. Oh, concentrate, Kevin. Well, I'm drawing a blank. I can't do this. 7, 48, 55, 22 inches added to that. So he is 8'3".
Oh my God.
And he is about, I don't know how stocky of a guy he is. Well, there's a number. So he's probably about 450 pounds. Yeah, so small.
Yeah. His name's Tiny. That's what people call him.
Yeah, exactly.
So he said I can get discounts at the
Right. So he takes a token. He takes a token and he stamps it with a date.
right.
And then hands it to you. And he's like, so long as you're within 30 days of that date, you'll get the discount. And you just show it to me. And, he takes your name down and everything. Do you want to give a real name?
Well, okay. One thing I was going to ask him, because it isn't influencing the answer to that question. I'm kind of concerned that like the magic shops would show me other items which may or may not be legal. I just kind of like, what is the reputation of this guild? Kind of just looking around, to other people in the city, just out of curiosity.
Well, they look at us askance like we're nuts, but
okay, that's fine.
And there's been occasional trouble with the law here. We get all kinds in, but wow. But don't you worry about that. We have a very close relationship with the law. And so my relationship is that any troublemaker that I need taken care of, I will knock unconscious and bring to them.
So basically freelance police. Okay.
Yes.
Sam and Max reference right there.
That's right.
Okay. No, yeah, that's fair enough. Whatever you got to do, I'll happily pay the silver, and yeah, I'll just tell him Brise. I don't think I need to hide that.
So he takes you down, all that. Um, he's like, we've got no one staying here at the moment. So you really have your pick of rooms. It's a one floor establishment. They said the rooms away from the kitchen are the quietest.
Mhm.
Um, and so you eat for free here as well, but drinks cost. That is alcohol cost. Otherwise, everything else is free.
Gotcha. And just for, because I have my little table of lodgings here, how much would a drink cost
Oh,
in night? Just so I can write it down so we can have it forever.
yeah. He's like, most beers are 2 copper, most spirits are 3.
In a night stay. Again, so we just record it.
Oh, it's free.
Oh, meals are free and night stays are free. Okay.
Yes, your 15 silver covers all of that, and you know, um, it's a place away from judging eyes. That's you can have your familiar in here freely.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I mean,
I
it's a
think that makes
place
sense.
where you can let your hair down as someone who deals with the arcane and that sort of thing.
And this is near the south of town.
Yes,
Okay. Got to write all this stuff down because you never know when it's gonna
right.
come in useful.
You you never know when it's going to change. What?
Hey, what?
It's not gonna,
Suddenly in the north side of town.
that's right.
Um, so I will ask him directions to Molia's.
Malia's?
Yeah, I'll ask him about. You mentioned 2 magic shops. One of them is Molia's, right? Is it nearby here?
Oh yeah, sure. 4 or 5 blocks back that way.
Okay.
Um, the other is pretty far away. I'll do it that way. Um, it's Calrin's Secrets.
Cow.
That, yeah, and that's sort of west of town center. Um, that's a good hour walk.
Or more, depending on how familiar you are with the city.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, with that, I think I'm done talking to him. I'll see turn around and see who's in the common room and kind of butt into some conversations and see what's going on.
It looks like no real adventurers, and you recall that's right. He said they really didn't have anyone staying there, but
Yeah.
it looks like, as you've seen in other ones, that you do have merchants who come in who clearly are sort of interested in dealing with adventurers.
Yeah.
And so they've sort of just got their feet up on the table and are talking. Um,
No.
they see you and light up and both get to their feet. Um, they're dirty little goblin feet. And um, and they wave you over and pull out a chair. And there's a bar here in the common room, um, manned by a female goblin. Um, and one orders you tea, one orders you coffee, and
Okay.
they're
Can't
yeah.
deny that.
And so one is asking you if you're interested in or you have any interesting gems or jewelry. Um, he's always in the market for that. The other one, also male, um, what might he be interested in? Oh, is herbalist and healer.
Okay.
Can see that you appear quite fit, but nonetheless takes out a little apothecary's sort of drawer set,
Yeah.
and is like, I've got, it's sort of wrapped in like a wicker sort of deal that he just lowers it down. There's a set of drawers, and, so it basically just folds up into a basket. So he can take it without the drawers sliding open. And he sits it up on a chair and turns it to you. And he goes, or if you've got any to sell, um, you know, uh, I'm always here. I've got a bit of magic too that can help with wounds, poisons, um, poons. Wait, no.
Poison wounds, poons.
That's right.
I think I'm good for the herb. I've got plenty of herbs on me. Yeah, I'm bloated with herbs. Too many herbs. So I'll kind of turn him down, and really, I'll just ask him. It's like, actually, I'm really looking for information about some of the geography and locations around the region, and I'll pull up the map.
And in the true sense of goblins, they're like, well, he doesn't know anything, so you could leave us, And the other guy is like, why don't you stick to sniffing your herbs and let me and the lady talk? It's always the verbal jousting with goblins. Yeah. So you roll out the map and the red carpet.
And I'll just say, well, it's good there's two of you. If any of these spots look familiar, I'd be glad to know all I can about them or how to get to them. So this is interesting. I got two guys here. Do I even really need to bribe any of them? Because they're going to outcompete each other anyway. just to
Well, hey, it's always about making relationships. Unlike other role-playing games, Rollmaster does it really does benefit to make these sort of contacts. So, if it costs you a silver or even a gold here and there, what do you care?
Right. Exactly.
So they don't know much. I mean, they can give you, looking at some of the towns marked on the map, they can tell you roughly, yeah, I mean, you would take this road and this road to get there. Only one of the locations rings a bell with any and that's only with one. It's only with the herbalist.
Okay.
So there is a location to the southeast. Northeast. I forgot. Can't go too far south. We'll be in Dwarven country.
Yeah.
So to the northeast, it's fairly far away, but it's called Grove of the Innocent. And so he says that he has heard of this in more than one story, that the Grove of the Innocent is supposedly the birthplace, is one of the rumored birthplaces of Lewin, the god of children and children, hearth, and home. And it's not really settled, that that's really canon, that maybe she's always existed, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But one of the theorized locations was called Grove of the Innocent. It was supposed to be in the mountains, and he remembers some of those stories from the teachings of a friend of his who was very religious, but didn't really. It was sort of a off-brand of the faith of this area. Supposedly, finding it um, and spending a night there um, relieves all burdens, um, heals all wounds, um, and provides great clarity into matters of turmoil, like especially like the stories go, like I'm estranged from my father, and I journeyed to, hey, Arpin, um, um, I'm estranged from my father, but I came across the grove of the innocent, and in sleeping there, one night, I saw the path through to peace with my father, and could heal that relationship. Um, you're also supposed to be granted, sort of luck for life, really. You know,
Plus one to all my rolls.
That's right. Well, I think I told you that Middle Earth role playing game, like the Arkenstone. Remember the Arkenstone in The Hobbit?
No. Oh. No, I can't remember. The name's familiar, but it's been too
So
long.
that was the big fist-sized gem that Bilbo claimed as the one thing out of the treasure that he wanted.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Okay.
also called the Heart of the Mountain.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Okay, so the Arkenstone's ability for in the game is, I think it's plus 25 to everything you do.
Oh, that's so overpowered.
Isn't that crazy? And so it's like to all your attacks, all your maneuvers, all your spells, to your defensive bonus, and all your attempts to resist influence and poison and things like that. What most games call saving throws. And so
And
yeah,
all you got to do is just defeat Smaug. That's all.
you're
The
set.
Hobbit could do it. It's got to be
Exactly.
easy. That's really funny, though. That I imagine the wording, yeah, just plus 25 to all rolls.
Yeah. So
If you roll it, add plus 25.
that's right. I guess it could, and the Silmarils, I assume, would be times 25.
Yeah, at the least.
So
No,
like,
we're careful with negative numbers, though. You're rolling negative 10 times 25. Negative 25.
shit goes south. Yeah.
That'd be like the One Ring. Is like, yeah, when you roll a negative number, it's just whoop. That's the ability. Okay, well, that's interesting.
He tells you, that this is pretty far away.
Yeah,
That you would,
probably a few weeks of travel. It sounds like.
no, there are enough major roads headed that way. It's basically going to take you. It's basically going to take you up near Gorb, which is big goblin city. It's actually originally it's the one elven city that they lost. But the elves lost two elven cities. They lost Gorb and they lost Hanrock, and the dwarves didn't lose any major city, and the elves lost two. But it was renamed Gorb after the invasion. It's
not an elven name, is it? Gorb.
No, and it's in sort of the arid region as it transitions to desert.
Yeah.
And he said, so there's enough major roads that if you rode really hard, yeah, because it's only about, it's only a third of the way up the nation. That's the only area the map shows, and so maybe 2 days if you really pushed it.
Okay.
So, so that is Grove of the Innocent. I would recommend. They can't think of anyone in town who might have more information.
Mm.
Um, he said the temples here are pretty small. Their libraries are pretty limited.
Mm.
Um, um,
That's when I was kind of guessing of what I told Verilag, that this is a pretty small, plot of land here, but I was pretty much right. There's not a lot of resources here for someone of her.
right. I mean, it really is the major cities. They said, your best luck, and it's a long shot just because of getting access to it, would to go to one of the nobles' libraries, which has one of the
Mm.
finer collections. Um, and so that would be Lady Gaffrit, Gaffrit. But but it's, I mean, you would really have to have a way in introduction of some sort to be able to get access to her library. It is rumored to be larger than anybody else's around.
Yeah.
Um, the temples tend to borrow from her, you know. Um, um, and they say, your connection to Lady Meagral may complicate that.
Wait, did I tell them I was connected to Lady Mugirl?
You did
Oh,
not.
okay. You're saying that to me out of character. Gotcha.
No, I am not. They say to you, your connection to Lady Meagral.
No, wait a darn second. I just narrow my eyes and my connection to whom now?
It's a small city,
Okay.
and you're a stranger, and a striking one at that. You think entourages march up to the keep every day? Everyone's talking about it.
Interesting.
And you can be certain the nobles know. Always in each other's businesses. This is.
Really quick, I mean, I know the opinion of the lady is pretty good, but I would ask them, so if most people in town know then my affiliations with the lady, is there anywhere I would maybe want to watch out for? Any people in particular I might want to steer clear of?
Well, no one's going to hurt you.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking. But the real problem is when they really start putting pressure on you to do them a favor. In fact, your association with Meagral may get you into doors of her enemies so that they can turn you against her.
Right.
And then you're going to have to figure out a way to say no or say yes and make some dangerous profit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now you get outside of her province, things become a little easier, but of course, that's a hike.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I definitely thank them for the information. I would offer them, some compensation as a giving person. I don't know what's the socially appropriate thing to do. There's two of them, and they were both kind of talking to me. Do I just, give them each a couple
Yeah,
gold pieces?
yeah. I think that feels like a more than generous, kind of a thank you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Okay, because I was worried, like, one of them was talking to me more. I'm like, how do I give him gold and give the other guy none? Like, I'll just
right.
thank you for your time and give me each a gold piece.
Okay. They are
Time.
visibly pleased, and they're like, "Come back anytime." Um, and and yeah, interesting. So apparently, the scuttlebutt is that uh, Lady Miagral has new visitors, and you
Yeah,
are easily recognized now.
yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah,
But I mean, that's good that they told me I shouldn't, be wary of anyone trying to take me down. It's more of like people might come to me and ask
right.
me for things, and I'm like, no, gonna have to decline that. So
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of people trying to influence you to turn against Miagral to
right,
be a double agent and all this kind of stuff.
yeah.
Um,
That's influencer. That's like the new term right now on social media. People on Twitter, they'll like what's the word? Obscure like the names, like Patreon. Is a big thing, or even like other social media platforms, Facebook. They'll like put a slash in between the name, so like they don't get people coming to them being like, "Hey, you talk about Facebook. Why don't you advertise?"
right,
So that's
right.
been going on for centuries.
I mean, it really has. I mean,
Yeah.
if you've read anything about the Medicis, for instance,
Oh gosh, I can only imagine.
I mean, it's very similar. And that's sort of my idea for Adabir's role with Lady Miagral is that,
Yeah. Okay.
it's like, sure, I'll fund you for your own researches, but I need these sorts of things done to the extent that your magic can accomplish them.
Right.
And that works until it's mutually beneficial or the whim of the Lord, of course, or lady.
Right.
So, so,
So it's
um,
9:30 now. This might be a good place to stop, and we'll pick up next time with I'm going to just march off to that battlefield. I think,
okay.
because if they said no one else in town would really know, it's going to take me longer to find someone who knows about it than just
It might. Yeah,
myself.
it might. I mean, who would you go to? I mean, you'd
I
have
mean,
to
there's the
be
magic shop. They could just go to Molia's next, but um, so I guess I could do that if it's on the way out of town, right?
right,
Stop by there, but to search around for it, it seems kind of.
right,
I'd rather be adventuring, right, than
right.
information hunting. So
Although, I mean, I guess for the Grove of the Innocent,
true, I have a name for that at least.
and you also know that it's religiously related. It's related to the goddess Lewin.
Mhm.
So going to a temple might be a quick trip,
True.
and just saying, you know, the problem is if it was an off color religion, if it was an offshoot of a faith, if this was a minority faith
Yeah, who
of some
worships that
sort,
goddess? Yeah.
I mean, you could have that map seized and torn up
Mm.
um, as heretical, or I forget the difference between heresy and what's the other one? Heresy.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, heresy and blasphemy.
Yeah.
One is against church teachings, but still within the faith, and the other is directly opposing the faith.
Well, yeah, blasphemy is supposed to be like against God and like nature, but heresy is just against the doctrine,
Right.
possibly
Right.
your another faith.
Right.
Yeah. I always remember by Dante's Inferno where blasphemy is beneath heresy because it's heresy you could still be faithful but just the wrong faith, right? But
Right.
blasphemy is like God sucks.
Right. Right. Well, all right then. So maybe, I mean, consider doing a temple run for next time. You might make that
Temple
work for you.
Run. Oh my God, that's an old app. Sorry.
I don't even know that app.
Yeah, that was a game back in middle school. Yeah, so I'll write down Temple.
Um, although, again, you might put possible heresy or something like that to remind you of that part of the conversation. Um, Blasphemy is irreverence, insult, or rudeness toward God. Heresy is wrong belief in God or any idea that is strongly against the standard beliefs in God in a particular area.
That's very detailed.
Well, that's our religious scholar speaking there. So Obi-Wan, is blasphemy, what would speaking against God's existence or promoting another God be? Another faith? Where would that fall? Or is that being a bleratic? Is that blasphemy?
Blasphemy.
So we'll wait for that answer, but we'll basically thank all of our viewers for hanging in there with us and joining the stream. As always, we really appreciate your time. We hope you enjoyed everything. I've always enjoyed doing this and creating it as we go. There's some links. Um, um, for the character sheet, personality, and as well as our donation box if you want to support us. I'm going to hide that caption so that we can see there. So, oh my lord, that stupid thing. So the
That's
so
artstation.com, by the way, in the bottom left corner. Artstation.com.
So we gotta get rid of those captions, but I don't know of a way to do that. Yeah, I don't see a way to do that. No. So we might do a modified version of that and move that so it can be seen. But thanks again to Elliot Dunovitz for the art on Brise. Always looks great. Has added a great deal of character to the stream. I've already heard compliments from people about the art there and the art on her website, so go take a look at that. Also for Max, of course, he has his YouTube channel. You can see the short link there for it, where he discusses video game music and the arrangements of video game original soundtracks. Keep checking that out. Always interesting. Hey, I have a book. Take a look at that. You can go search for it under my name on Amazon. I had a lot of fun writing it. But again, thanks to everybody who was here. Let's see if we well, Obi-Wan doesn't have an answer for us other than, Quinn has chimed in and said it would be a capital offense. I guess you would probably capitalize the O. But next time we'll see what Brise does. We have done 10 episodes, gang, and we're going to keep going. We might talk about doing some sort of recap at some point. We'll figure that out after the stream, but we'll give some thought to that. But thank you, everybody. You're all my lovely Karandrin cherubs, and I cherish each one of you. Max, say goodbye to the lovely people.
Goodbye, everybody. Hope you have a good night. 10 episodes. It's been good fun, and we'll have many more.
Yes, I hope we have hundreds more. Oh, those are big GD beetles. Wow, Quinn is odd.
Goddamn.
Yeah, how dare you? That's some of that harassphemy that I've heard about.
Harassphemy. I think that was a Greek philosopher.
I think so. He's the father of heresy, harassphemy. But thanks everybody for everything. 10 episodes down, millions more to go. And we will see you as always next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, for episode 11. And we'll think about doing something in terms of a recap over the 10 episodes. We'll think about doing that. So, all right, guys, thank you very much. We'll see you next time.